Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, March 28th. Okay, so we had the moon in Scorpio all day, and I know that the last couple of days, not only with the moon in Scorpio, but with that full moon lunar eclipse in Libran energy, the scales were definitely tipped in a not so nice favor, let's say. And of course, yesterday we just shifted into the Scorpio energy, but we had to examine the darkness. We really had to sit in that funk. Now, part of Scorpio's power is to turn that pain into power, to turn that darkness into light. But of course, we have to sit in it, be very aware of it before we can do anything about it. Here today, we are definitely rising up from those dark ashes, so to speak. We are going to have a totally different perspective, a lot of new intuitive downloads and insights, pushing us to explore a different option than what it is that we were planning on exploring. Because again, we're in eclipse season, expect the unexpected, wild card energies, and you best believe that we are getting downloaded full force with the moon in Scorpio. So, there are 12 different aspects taking place here today, by far the busiest day in the cosmos that we've had this week. 10 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. So just a reminder, moon in Scorpio, we have our detective hats on. We're doing shadow work. We have no problem reading between the lines. Our intuition is very strong. We have no problem examining the darkness and really pushing for it to be something lighter, something brighter, something more useful. We have no issue whatsoever turning the rocks over, if you will, at the bottom of our barrel to examine the blockages, the challenges that are still very alive and well in our psyche. Again, reminder, Pluto, who takes us in a deep dive in our psyche, rules over the Scorpio energy, and Mars co-rules over the Scorpio energy as well. And we have those two powerful, let's call them influences, doing their own thing in both Aquarius energy and Pisces energy. So we are thinking very visionary. We're thinking futuristically. We're thinking about how we can be better, what it is that we can improve upon, and we are channeling information from our higher selves. That Piscean energy is imagination. It is creativity. And we are looking to piece it together so that we have a path, a plan, a strategy on how it is that we are going to take some steps, initiate a new cycle, and actually see some progress forward. So a lot going on here today. We're going to kick the day off with the moon in Scorpio making an awkward interaction with Neptune in Pisces energy. So first of all, this is going to heighten our sensitivity, our awareness to subtle energies around us, really strengthen our intuition, tap into new levels of imagination, of creativity. We may have a blockage here because, again, it's an awkward interaction. However, the water on water action suggests that we are getting cleansed, purified. We are definitely going through a major change, a major transformation in our emotional realm, in our spiritual realm. We are being illuminated to where it is that there may be a detachment, may be a disconnect from our higher selves, from our intuition. But again, that's just a falsity. That's just our ego trying to intellectualize some of the things that we can't make sense of as of yet. This particular energy is putting us in a situation where there's a lot of information coming in from the energetic realms that could possibly put us in a situation to feel overwhelmed and overstimulated. Again, water crashes upon us. First, it breaks things down. It gets the residue off. It cleanses us. It purifies us. It kind of cleans the slate, so to speak, in order for the refreshment to come in, the renewal to come in. And from that, we build on these downloads. We build on these visions. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles and responsibilities and foundations and structures and willpower and discipline. And he's in Pisces energy right now. So again, this is another water on water interaction. Because this is a favorable one, we aren't getting a harsh reality check, but we are getting new information in, new details that's going to change the game, especially with what it is that we have to collapse, what we have to let go as far as old belief systems, old dreams, old visions go in order to build something new in the place of the things that we're no longer in alignment with. This, again, water on water action. This is a trine. This is harmonizing, which means that we're bossing up. We're realizing where we have a different perspective, a different level of power, control, and authority over our thoughts, over our emotions, and therefore we understand what needs to stay and therefore what needs to go. Okay, so this is the balancing act. Again, we've been defragging. Now, under the moon in Scorpio, we continue this defragging process and merge the leftover pieces back into a state of wholeness. So this is a good realization on where it is that we are growing, where we are building towards something new by the, I'm going to say, process of elimination, defragging from what is no longer in alignment, what we no longer believe in, what we no longer have a vision for, what it is that we're no longer being called to pursue a certain path, a certain idea. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with the sun. So the sun shining a bright light in this Aries energy, new start, new clean slate, new cycle, new, I'm going to call it spark, fire, flame, passion, desire being ignited within us. We just don't know what it is yet. We don't know how to take action upon it yet. Again, cultivating this inner spirit that is definitely going to be strong enough in order to see this first chapter of blockages, of obstacles through. Because of course, anytime you're trying to start something new, we immediately bang our head against a wall with issues, with problems. Now, here's the thing. This is a beautiful interaction. So what happens when the moon and the sun come together in any kind of interaction? There's a new aha moment. There's a new emotional awareness. There's a new realization of an inspiration, a motivation, a passion, a desire that is now coming into our awareness in a form that we can actually do something about it. The moon in Scorpio, technically speaking, has more of an intuitive channel where we're kind of, there's nothing really going on in our physical realms to create this level of excitement, of inspiration, of motivation. This is like an inner realm thing. But the sun shining a bright light in this Aries energy is also illuminating where it is that we have to clean the space and clear the slate, so to speak, in order to actually bring these new elements to life. So this is an aha moment, an emotional awareness coming in, a new realization, an excitement, an inspiration that we now need to explore. We have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in this Pisces energy, sextiling Uranus, the great awakener, in Taurus energy. Again, reminder, Venus rules over the Taurus energy, and so there's a little bit more of an oomph and intensity when we're interacting with a planet that is in the rulership of the other planet that, of course, is in a different area of the chart. I don't mean to complicate that. I'm just saying that when Venus is interacting with Uranus, who technically Uranus is like living at her house right now. She's on vacation. She's somewhere else. Uranus is house sitting in this Taurus energy. So she's calling home. And of course, there's more of a connection speaking to the people that are currently residing in your place of power than if you were calling someone else living in their own space. Think of it that way. So Venus and Uranus coming together, first of all, is going to bring a different mood, a different attitude. We are kind of sick of the same old, same old. We don't want, the mundane tasks and chores. We don't want the same old routine. That's Uranian energy trying to break us out of our shells, trying to open us up to new ways of doing things, to new ideas, if you will. And what we're getting out of this is, first of all, we feel a little bit more open to share ourselves, to share our stories, to share our wants, needs, and desires. We're feeling a little bit more bold and brave and stabilized in identifying what it is that we actually want, need, and desire, what it is that we actually want to pursue. And really, we're just kind of bored and we're looking to become a little bit more interested in anything that is not already a part of our life. So anything that is new or unusual or out of the box or out of the realm of what we would consider normal in our day-to-day life, that's attracting us. That is opening up our minds. That is kind of like triggering a new exploration into areas that we haven't kind of dabbled in as of yet. And especially where relationship dynamics are concerned, because again, reminder, we're still in eclipse season that is really tipping the scales of our relationship dynamics. So it has a lot to do with relationship dynamics, has a lot to do with our happiness, our joy, our pleasure, has a lot to do with our safety, security, and stability, and a lot to do about our money. And we may be in the mind space right now where we're recognizing that something's got to give, something's got to change, but the answer is not going to be found in our day-to-day life, in the same old, same old. If you want a different result, you got to do something different, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result, is insanity. And we've recognized this, and we understand now that if we want to change our physical realms, if we want to change our circumstances, we got to do something different. And so Uranus is here kind of giving us a lightning bolt of energy to open up our mind space, open up our heart space, to look outside of the four walls in which we've created in our physical realm and reality, to see what could be out there to help us improve what's going on inside of the box. And so this could be a great time to kind of come up with a solution to relationship problems or dynamics. This could be a very interesting way, an aha moment, to figure out how to make more money or more stabilized money. I hope that it's making money instead of spending money, because that is a downfall of this particular energy as well. But basically, we're just a little bit more open. We're open for suggestion. We're open to different ways of doing things, different methods. We're just in exploration phase of what it is that we could do differently in our day-to-day lives in order to create a totally different outcome, a totally different result. The moon in Scorpio going to make a tough interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. And again, that's the soul path that we need to get on. We are in eclipse season. This has everything to do with the nodes of the moon. The North Node in this Aries energy is trying to get us on the right path to be individuals, to get to know thyself again, to heal thyself in that process, and to put our own wants, needs, and desires ahead of everyone else's. However, we are in a position right now where, because the moon in Scorpio is making a tough interaction with the North Node, we're not really focused on where we have the opportunity to grow, where we have the opportunity to heal, where we have the opportunity to break away and do our own thing, because that step comes after resolving the issues in this present moment. And we, typically speaking, get ahead of ourselves. And emotionally speaking, again, detective hat is on, our intuition turn all the way up. We have to do a deep dive within ourselves in order to see what the real problem is. There's no point in thinking about what we could do or what we should do in the futuristic sense without understanding how the hell we ended up here, what it is that we have power and control of in this present moment, and where it is that we're not bossing up and taking power and control over the particular aspects of our lives that we actually have power and control over. So we're not really thinking, I'm going to say, too futuristically with this particular aspect, because we have a lot of issues in this present moment that we have to bring forth in our awareness. We have to fix, we have to resolve, we have to repair, we have to heal before we can get started on a new path and adding things to our lives. The moon is then going to directly oppose and sit across from Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, in Taurus energy. Scorpio energy, Taurus energy, they sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. We have fixed water with Scorpio. We have a fixed earth with Taurus energy. What do you get with water and earth? Well, let's talk about it. We have too much emotion, too much intuition, too much imagination, then we're really going to get confused, right? We're really going to muddy up our emotional state. If we have too much earth, then we're basically going to suck up all that water, dry that emotion, dry that intuition, dry that imagination all the way up. When you have balanced earth and water, we are creating a perfect environment for growth. But this opposition is putting us at a choice point, because that's what oppositions do. It creates a little bit of tension, creates a little bit of conflict in order for us to choose and decide to either, technically shit or get off the pot. That's where we're at. Emotionally speaking, the Scorpio energy is sitting across from Jupiter. Jupiter wants us to grow and expand. He wants us to change our physical realms. And of course, that's a very hard thing to do with double fixed energy, because the fixed signs like to stabilize. And the last thing that we want to do is to make any kind of changes, especially major ones. And so emotionally speaking, we are going through some growing pains right now. We are in eclipse season. So there is this inner emotional realm, this inner spiritual realm growth. but we're not seeing the kind of growth, the kind of expansion that we want to see in our physical realms. Again, may I remind you, you have to align the mind, body, soul equation. You have to make the change within yourself before you're going to see it mirrored back in your physical realm. Many of us sit around thinking that, oh, when I see this change, or when I see that, kind of close the door on that, when I see this enter into my realm, then I'm going to feel better, then I'm going to know what to do. That's not how it works. You have to create your inner realm before it's going to be mirrored back to you in your physical realm. And this is the tension, this is the conflict point, because there isn't a certain amount of growth that we're currently resisting because of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that we're harboring by trying to hold on to what once was until we figure out something new being added to our life where we feel comfortable enough to let go of the old and actually, kind of switch our attention to the new. Part of taking a leap of faith is releasing the old, being left with nothing but a void, having the hope, the wish, the trust, the faith that something better will fill the spot in the things that you are currently getting rid of. So it comes down to intuition and faith. The moon is then going to interact in a very not so nice way with Chiron. So we're definitely sitting in our funk right now. We've been exposed to our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. We're being exposed to our wounds. We are dissecting this new version of self. We are understanding where it is that there are certain parts of the old self that we're still holding on to because we don't feel comfortable with this new self identity yet. We are in the deconstruction phase, the dissection phase of figuring out what our problem actually is. And a lot of it is that we haven't done the emotional and spiritual work to kind of defrag ourselves from the old pain, the old trauma. That's what Scorpio energy is about, is examining that darkness, examining that pain, examining that weight, figuring out how it is that we can flip the script and actually make it work for us instead of work against us. But right now we have to sit inside of ourselves with all the fears, doubts, and insecurities, picking ourselves apart, beating ourselves down in order for us to have a glow up, which we are going to have approximately 2 hours later. The moon in Scorpio is going to make a positive interaction with Pluto, who rules over the Scorpio energy, and Pluto is in Aquarius energy. So again, we have fixed water and fixed air. Now, this is electricity at its finest. This is intellect with intuition. This is thought and idea with, I'm going to say, emotion backing it as well. What we know about Mr. Pluto is that he does a deep dive in the psyche in order for us to examine our programming, our conditioning, and see where it is that we could override that system, create something better, improve upon thyself. Again, Aquarius energy, very focused on the future vision and kind of breaking it down into smaller pieces, what we actually have power and control over here in this present moment in order to defrag the old and implement the new and start building towards something better, a different vision, different goal, different dream. This is going to intensify our thoughts, our emotions, our intuition, our ability to download vision, guidance from the higher realms, from our higher self. Yes, this is going to reveal hidden truths, hidden layers, hidden details. That's what Pluto does, is he illuminates us to parts that were in our face this whole time. We just didn't have the right kind of vibration to be aware of them. And so this is doing a deep dive in our psyche and in our emotions at the same time. Again, detective hats are on and we're piecing the clues together in order to reveal a greater, grander picture of where it is that our emotions and our intuition, our connection to our higher self is changing, is transforming by examining the darkness and turning it into light. What is light? It's information. It's knowledge. So, when you have hidden details revealed to you, you suddenly have more information and details than you had even 2 seconds ago, which means that you have turned something dark that was not seen, that was previously hidden, into light, into information, into knowledge, into something that you can do something about it. You can do something with it. And this is exactly where it is that we need to be at to make this inner change, this inner transformation. We have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, in this Pisces energy, making a positive interaction with Jupiter. Again, planet of growth and expansion in that Taurus energy. So this is another prime example of water and earth working together to create an environment for growth. Now, Mars Mars is in this Pisces energy. He's trying to get emotionally, intuitively, spiritually aligned with a new mission, new calling, new purpose. Jupiter, of course, low, slow growth over there in the Taurus energy. This is kind of putting us in a more, I'm going to say, imaginative, creative type of disposition where we are kind of percolating on new ideas. We're percolating on new inspirations, new things that are exciting to us, new motivations. We are building ourselves up to actually take action, to want to grow, to want to improve, to want to initiate something new. We are kind of building our confidence up. We're building our self-esteem up. We're trying to cultivate a new excitement for life, especially in the, let's call it, respect of realizing that we actually have more power than we've ever given ourselves credit for. And we have the power to create our own luck, our own reality, our own options, our own opportunities if we are a vibrational match to do just that. So it is this particular interaction that is kind of putting a little bit of a pep back in our step, so to speak, and really illuminating for us where it is that we hold the power. We have the power. We can align with our higher power and we can create some beautiful things. The moon is going to directly oppose Uranus shortly thereafter, though, which is going to, again, create a little bit of conflict and tension. Right now, we're not feeling as open. We're not receiving the downloads that we want. We just kind of have this revelation between Mars and Jupiter just after the moon and Pluto. So we were kind of feeling good, feeling higher vibe than this particular interaction. This is putting us in a situation where we're not as clear about the details, about the vision, about the goal of the dream that we were hoping to be. And a lot of this is because just as we reach new levels of heights as far as creative energy is concerned, inspiration and excitement is concerned, the ego kicks in and starts kind of speaking fears into our dreams, starts talking us out of something that we just realized actually excites us. And this is a prime example of that. If Uranus was being aspected in a positive way, we would have an aha moment. We would gain clarity. We would have a bigger, broader perspective and picture on what it is that we want to do, what it is that we need to grow. But in this particular interaction, again, that egoic programming is kicking in and suddenly we are Debbie Downers. We are sitting in the darkness. We do not see the opportunity for growth. We don't know how we're going to bring these ideas to life. And what we're doing here is just over exaggerating the amount of chaos and confusion that there actually needs to be. We're going to sit in that funk for about an hour, hour and a half. The moon in Scorpio then going to trine beautiful interaction with Venus in this Pisces energy. So again, water on water action. We are bringing our emotions and our intuition around with our heart space. We are putting ourselves in a position to really sort through and process our emotions, our thoughts, our ideas, especially around relationships, especially around our happiness, our joy, our safety, security, stability, overall imagination and creative force energy. There's been a major shift in our heart space. We're still trying to kind of identify what it is that we want, need, and desire, but this is going to be a huge illumination on what it is that we actually want, need, and desire when we don't allow our ego to talk ourselves out of it. So again, we're rising in the vibration, we're rising in inspiration, we're rising in creative force energy, we're rising in imagination. We're feeling good about it. We're feeling strong. We're feeling powerful in our heart space. We understand that we're at the end of a cycle and therefore at the very beginning of a new cycle. And that is very exciting. It alleviates the weight, the pain, the trauma that we are currently cleansing from our heart space with Venus being in that Piscean energy. So the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Scorpio energy making a positive interaction with the North Node in Aries. So it's almost like by the end of the day, we're going to go through the highs, the lows, the everything in between, the confusion, the funk, the darkness. And suddenly we are towards the end of the day realizing new insights, new downloads, new visions, new goals, new dreams. And we kind of wrap the day up between the moon and the true node of what it is now that we want to do. We're actually seeing a potential path. We're seeing a potential plan. We're seeing a potential strategy. Yeah, we still have to kind of put our ducks in a row, but there's a lot more clarity, a lot more excitement, a lot more inspiration, a lot more understanding of our emotions, of our wants, our needs, our desires towards the end of the day than when the day began.